Intoxication while driving has been a danger to society since cars were invented. Seriously, look at the first drunk driving accident. It took place in 1897 with a dude named George Smith. Look at him. Look at that dude. With the power that a vehicle wields, serious damage can be inflicted. So usually what society tends to do when it comes to an internal threat like this, to public safety, is they create policy, to try and combat this threat, So today we're going to look at just that, an example of policy that tries to solve such an issue. Let me introduce you to Bill 1941. The bill was introduced by yours truly, Rob Bell. It changes the punishment of harming someone while intoxicatedly driving from a 12 months in jail type of sentence to a whopping 1 to 5 years in jail. God damn! Ooh. Wow. That's a long term. Today we're going to take a look at the 3 levels of that bill, right? The ones who create it, the ones who enforce it, and then the ones who are affected by it. Let's get started. We're going to go from the top down, alright? Who better to interview at the top of the food chain than the man who introduced the bill himself? Okay, I'm talking about Rob Bell, the man who fights every day, tooth and nail, blood to bone, to represent the 58th District. Albemarle, Fluvanna, Greene, a little bit of Rockingham County. Rob Bell. Please forgive my unprofessional excitement during this interview. I was swept off my feet in excitement just talking to Rob Bell. All right, who wouldn't be, right? Just check it out. Rob Bell's gonna call us, dude.
Why are we playing this?
No. Once he calls, he's gonna go up here into the thing, and you can hear him through the speakers.
Okay.
All of his glory.
It's gonna sound great.
Okay, action.
All right. Here we go.
Hello?
Hi, this is Rob Bell, trying to reach Jack Kircher, please.
Hey, Mr. Rob Bell.
Yes, sir. How can I help you today? I understand you're working on your CAP project?
I am.
Okay, I'm very happy to help. How can I help?
So I got just a few questions here. I'm with my buddy who's gonna ask one as well.
Sure. What's your buddy's name?
Christian.
I'm Christian. We go to Albemarle Tech. We saw you when you were visiting a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
We met you.
So you guys are fourth year seniors doing CAP project? Is that?
That's right.
Yep.
All right. Hold on one sec. I'm in my car with my Bluetooth on. Let me just.
We are too.
Problem.
Yeah.
Is it blocked off?
Yeah. Where are you trying to go?
Powell Mountain Road.
Oh, you get to Powell Mountain.
From here?
Yes.
Just go straight.
Yeah.
Okay.
About an
Yeah.
hour
Yeah.
back.
I'll come back after. Thank you.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
All
Okay. So what can I tell you about the bill?
So, I just have a few questions here. Would you mind just introducing yourself for the interview?
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So my name is Rob Bell, and I work in the House of Delegates for the 58th District. I represent Albemarle County, Fluvanna, Greene County, and part of Rockingham County.
Lovely. Thank you. So, for my research, you recently introduced a bill, 1941, that dealt with intoxicated driving induced harm.
Yes.
Yep. Could you tell us, in your own words, why you chose to introduce this bill?
Sure. So some bills are bills I think of, or they come from a fancy panel of experts. This one didn't. This came from a couple of parents.
Mm-hmm.
They call it John and Amanda Petrolak from Fluvanna, and their daughter was almost killed in a head-on collision with a drunk driver in Fluvanna last year.
Mm-hmm.
And under Virginia law, there's 2 kinds of crimes: misdemeanors, which are the relatively minor crimes, shoplifting, disorderly conduct, and felonies, which are the more serious crimes. And in this case, it was only a misdemeanor,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of an unusual reason why. In Virginia, until this law passed, and the governor just signed it, but until this law passed, it wouldn't be a felony unless the injury caused permanent and significant physical impairment. Okay,
Yeah.
Then that matters, because that's what the problem was. And so their daughter, who is, I forget if she's 9 or 10, but their daughter almost was killed. I mean, they broke her neck. If they'd been another half inch or something, it would have cut through the spinal column.
Yeah.
And they get her to UVA. They get some amazing doctor. And the doctor says, well, usually you would fuse all the bones in her neck, and then for the rest of her life she couldn't turn her head, she couldn't bend her neck, she couldn't see down to her toes.
Yeah.
But I've been reading about this new thing they do where you immobilize everything and you put her in, it looks like a halo where you kind of hold the neck in place, but then you just let it heal.
Yeah.
And this seems unlikely, but if it were to work, then she would be able to use her neck.
Yeah.
And the parents said, this sounds hard to believe, but sure. I mean, she's only 10. Anyhow, she's got good genes and good luck and prayer and whatever else, and she healed. And right now, the only proof that she had this life-threatening, almost died injury is this little scar in the back of her neck.
Wow.
Okay? Well, that's great news. I mean, 99% good news. The only 1% that's not is it meant the guy that did this can't be charged with a felony.
Yeah.
It did not cause permanent and significant physical impairment. So anyway, the bill said that's silly. Why should he get the benefit of having an amazing? I mean, they're already using her now, and other doctors are studying what happens so they can do it. So long story short, they are using. We thought the guy that did this shouldn't get the benefit of a good doctor. He should be convicted of a felony.
Yeah.
Of course, it won't affect his case. You can't go back in time, but there'll be a next case soon enough. And so that's where the bill came from. And the parents came down to Richmond, I think 4 different times to testify. And so that's the bill.
Okay, so the bill changes the punishment, or how the punishment is given.
Yeah. So right now, that what I've just described is called a Class 1 misdemeanor.
Yeah.
It's punishable by up to 12 months in jail, and jail is the local jail. This would make it a Class 6 felony, which means it's punishable by 1 to 5 years, and not at the local jail, but at prison.
Okay. Okay. So, would you say that because this is this was a pretty specific case, applying it to all other sort of situations, like how many other situations do you think there are going to be like this that this bill will affect?
Well, so that's a good question. So of course, here we don't know, and the reason we don't know is because up until now it hasn't affected. We keep track of every crime, so we actually have good statistics on every crime that exists. But up until this passes, there has not been any difference between this significant and permanent physical impairment.
Okay.
So we don't know.
Notice how Rob Bell doesn't believe that this bill will solve this issue. He's saying that the bill is a right step towards a prevention for some percentage of DUIs out of the over 2,000 DUIs per year, right? This bill is a lot easier to get passed than, say, a bill that bans alcohol, but nobody's going to give that up, all right? Not even me. He's saying as long as this helps, it's worth passing, which makes sense, right? Now for the rest of the interview, Christian asks his question, which I'll save for his video. But then we decided to ask a more casual question, just for the meme, it's just for the fun of it, So here it is.
So one final question. I hear that you are a Republican gamer and dad. Is that true?
All of those are true.
Awesome.
I don't know if that'd be the order. I don't know if I put that in the right order, but yeah, or in the same order. Yeah, I played both board games and then I play video games all the time.
Real gamer.
It's hard to get people. It's hard to find 6 people to play a big board game anymore.
Yeah, it's true. But you can play online and everything with all these all the new technology with games and stuff as well.
Such an awesome guy. Now let's go to the law enforcement. Officer Scopoletti. Everybody knows Scope, okay? Everybody knows Scopoletti, some more than others. I wanted his take on the bill and how he goes about enforcing it and all that. So first question, have you ever apprehended somebody for drunk driving?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. How frequent would you say?
It was when I worked on midnight shift, going back a number of years. It would average two a month.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
has it ever been too late, as in the driver has hurt themselves or someone else?
I've worked DUI accidents, we call it crashes, where the driver was drunk and they injured somebody else.
Okay.
So that does occur.
Okay. Are you familiar with the new House Bill 1941 that changes the punishment for causing any harm while driving intoxicated from a Class 6 felony to a Class 4?
No, I was not aware of that.
Okay, because this was pretty recent. It was recently passed, I think, last month. Would you? I'm just curious about your thoughts. Do you believe that this is gonna help out preventing such harm that would be caused by?
That's a good question.
intoxicated?
I personally feel yes.
Yeah.
I think if there's a harsher punishment, now, you know, it would, you know, deter that behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Will it?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Okay.
You have to see. I think punishment alone doesn't necessarily deter, but education to a degree, and I reference that. I look at smoking. We, you know, for the last 10 or 15 years, they really harped ad campaigns, how smoking's bad, which it is bad. But they used the educational campaign, if you want to call it that, to, you know, tell people not to smoke. And what happened? A lot of smoking has dropped greatly from teens up. That helped. You know, did we increase the punishment for it? No. If we would it have stopped it? You know, there's.
Yeah.
I personally would like to hope it does.
It
that.
will help.
It would help.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Officer Scopoletti seems to think that a harsher punishment should prevent incidents like this, but, you know, not to an immense degree. Now, this isn't a very sensitive issue, all right? It's not going to, you know, cause public outcry upon its signing and implementation. But I decided to ask him if it did, you know, like, what if it's like a bill that people are up in arms about and maybe even he might disagree with. I just wanted to see if he would ever not enforce a law.
Here's another question. If you believed a bill that was instated recently like this one, if you didn't believe in it, as in whatever it is it's not going to try and fix, or it's just not right, would you ever not enforce it? Or would you?
No, I would enforce it.
Okay, no matter what.
No matter what, my job as a law enforcement officer is to uphold the law.
Okay.
Regardless if I agree with it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But don't forget, my job is not to determine if you're guilty.
Mm-hmm.
My job is to determine if you violated a law.
Okay.
So I would enforce the law. The outcome at court is the outcome at court.
Yeah. Are you familiar with some of the sheriffs, recent, or I don't know if it's recently, but who have chosen not to enforce certain laws in their counties?
I've heard of that, and I don't think that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Only because, you know, law enforcement's job is to enforce the laws.
Yeah.
If you don't like the law and you feel that strongly, then you should talk to your delegate to change the law.
Mm-hmm.
When you allow government to pick and choose what laws it can enforce, it's a in my opinion, it starts down a dark road, because if they decide that, you know, they just don't want to enforce this law today, but they're going to enforce this law.
Mm-hmm.
And if they
pick
decide,
and
well,
choose.
we pick and choose if we need to generate money, so we'll just enforce this law.
Mm-hmm.
This one costs us money if we enforce it because we have to
Okay,
go to court.
So you think some of the aspects of it is money?
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the things, especially I can comment around here, is like our police department in Albemarle County. Police departments don't generate money for the county.
Mm-hmm.
sheriff's departments generate money. But what happens with the sheriff's office, part of their income or part of their operating costs comes from the tickets they write. But they also generate money for their localities. A police department doesn't work that way. We don't get any of that money. Our budget comes from the county. And so if we write a traffic summons for speeding, some of that money goes to the state, and that includes court costs and everything, but that money goes to the state. The other portion, whatever is left over, goes to general funds of the county. But those general funds it's like a small number. The county does not rely on that number for anything. That general funds is, the county general funds is usually just like, they have a project they want to try to fund. They have some money left over, they use it. But they don't go to that money as, we're going to use this money because we're going to expect X number of dollars coming in. It doesn't work that way.
Okay.
But in the sheriff's department, that money is expected.
I mentioned the sheriffs recently. He decided not to enforce certain laws, but he stuck by his principles, Very honorable. I should have asked him what if the bill was really bad, like killing people, like innocent people, like putting them out on the streets and killing them, and then been like, what do you do then, Checkmate. The third and final layer of this policy cake is the people who are actually affected by it. All right. Now, I'm pretty lucky. I got a friend who goes by the name of Taylor, who has actually been apprehended and caught driving intoxicated. I decided to call him up and give him an interview.
Hello?
Hey, Taylor.
Who's this?
This is Jack.
Johnny Appleseed?
No. Okay, so I'm doing a CAP project for my government class.
Government?
Yeah, I'm researching a bill, and I have to
If we're talking about government, I personally believe in a communist.
So I'm interviewing the person who makes the legislation, the person who enforces it, and then somebody who's affected by it. And
Because I'm a druggie, right?
that I'm doing a bill on intoxicated driving and hurting people. So
Okay, look. First off, if you're gonna show this to your class, I want them to know that I'm a clean boy now.
yeah,
That
okay,
stuff.
sure. Well, we're gonna get to that. Okay, so first question. So do you know what the bill is?
No.
It changes the punishment from when you're driving intoxicated and when you hurt someone from 0 to 12 months in prison to 2 to 10 years.
Wow.
So, as someone who's been convicted,
Oppressed by the law.
convicted, do you believe this change in policy?
Convicted is a strong word, man.
Do you believe this change in policy would prevent you from maybe making that choice next time? You were aware, maybe...
Was I aware that there was a cop behind the corner? No.
You were aware that it was illegal, but now it's more illegal. So
Now it's more illegal, okay.
would you not get in the car?
No, I would still totally do it, but this time I wouldn't be caught.
Okay.
Yeah, well, now I'd be more aware. Have known.
You'd be more aware?
Yes. I would look behind corners.
Wait, when you're driving? I thought you meant more aware of the consequences before you get in the car.
No, of course not. I don't care about consequences.
Okay. Well, that's all I need from you.
Okay.
Thanks, Taylor. Now, Taylor says this change in policy would not deter him from making the same mistake. Taylor, mistake, okay? But keep in mind that this is only one data point in 2,000 DUIs, as you heard Rob Bell say. But also keep in mind that while he's one data point, he probably represents what most of that group is like. Anyway, what have we learned? That at the top of the food chain, where the laws are created, bills are passed to not always completely solve a big issue, alright? Bills are passed, most bills are passed, to take, little itty bitty steps towards solving this big issue, right? We've learned that the law enforcement is simply there to enforce it and really shouldn't be doing anything else, according to Scopoletti. And we reinforced that the bill wouldn't solve the whole problem, with Taylor saying he would do it again. Anyway, this bill is just a step towards a brighter future.